What does one say to an ancient Nephilim ghost?
I suppose you start with...
Hello.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, YouTube? It's Filthy, and we're back. Finally we're back with some Diablo 3 content. So, we know we're getting Season 30 PTR 5th to the 12th of December. I have some good news. I have some bad news. I have some, I don't really know what this means news, I guess. So, yeah, we'll go through it. PTR, I'm quite excited. I think a lot of people are very pleased to see the back of Season 29. Look, it just is what it is. We had Season 28 with the Alter of Rites, which is coming back in Season 30, so that's nice. That was a great season. There was a lot of power. It was fun to do the Alter, personally, I thought. Double Primals was up my street. The quality of life changes, they were all fantastic. So for us to go back to Season 29 with all that stuff gone, with there being a really weak source season theme, the Visions of Enmity, which is returning. Again, that is now going to be a permanent mechanic. Like, it was fun to start off with, but it burnt out very quickly because it was so small. A little kind of like side dish to the game, but not strong enough as a season theme. And now we come to 30, where the Altar's returned, so that's good. The Altar's been nerfed, that's kind of bad. And I don't reading this, I don't really know what it is the season theme is going to be, and it might just be that there is going to be a season theme. It's obviously, we know now that we're going to be using old season themes recycled. That's fine. I think that's where we are. The game's in maintenance mode, but they haven't really said, unless I'm missing this, which of the season themes we're going to get next season. So my worry is that season 30 is going to be season 28 with a nerf to the Altar added with season 29, which was completely weak source, and we're going to get a season 30 whereby everyone's going to be a little bit, well, thanks for putting the Altar back, guys, but could we have not had a season theme as well? That's like my little worry. We've got some balance changes. They're going to try and even out some of the bits and bobs, so let's just go through this. So PTR focus and details, Rites of Sanctuary, Visions of Enmity, both been added due to positive feedback. I think most of these things are good changes. The Alter of Rites was a lot of fun, added quality of life, which was great. It was a challenge to do. It was grindy and hard, but it wasn't so hard that it was undoable. You know, within 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how casual you are with your game time, you could get it done. Staff of Herding, of course, is a pain in the arse, but it is worthwhile doing. The Visions added like essentially unlimited bounty mats. I think that needs some balance, because I ended up with thousands and thousands of bounty mats last season and not enough Forgotten Souls. The game, you need balance in these resources, otherwise it's pointless giving almost unlimited access to bounty materials. It kills bounties, which is a game mode. I think that's kind of bad. It's a bit silly that the bounties are kind of killed other than looking for like the specific items in the specific chests. So that's bad, in my opinion. I think they should have done something with this. You know, and they need to balance the Forgotten Souls issue. But, you know, it's more content. So from that point of view, we're happy with both of these things. Class balance we'll get on to a little bit later. PTR buff if you're going to play. Increased XP, shards, PTR vendor, yeah. So always there. Now, they have changed some of the stuff from the Alter of Rites. So we've got a damage decrease from 200 to 100 from one of the nodes. Okay. We now get, I don't like the way this is phrased. I would have much preferred it if they'd written the old stuff in white, scrubbed through it in red as normal, but we'll just do our best. The shadow node has been changed so that missile damage reduction goes now to 5% from 25%. So that's a bit of an oof. It's a big chunk of damage reduction to lose. The uncapped move speed has gone down from 25% to 10%. So that's a bit naff. Increased damage against elites has gone down from 15% to 5%. Increased damage reduction has gone from 20% down to 5%. Reduced damage taken from elites was 25%, it's now 5%. So these are all, fairly sizable nerfs. And the way the Altar worked, obviously, the way these damage reduction and damage things factor into your overall player experience equation is it's like a big math problem. They all get multiplied together. So a little bit of damage less here, a little bit of damage less there, a little bit of damage less here. All of it will stack up to not feeling quite as powerful. Highest element skill has been reduced. It was 10%, it's now 5%. Increased damage against elites was 20%, now it's 5%. Damage against bosses was 50%. This was one of the nicest ones, the fact that you could really pump up your boss damage down to 5%. Dodge chance was 15%, now 5%. Damage was 30%, now 5%. Power pile has been removed from the shrine effect, so that obviously affects pushing. Does affect the speed farming a little bit, but more of a push thing. And then the triune circle that used to give you double damage now gives you 50%. So if you're adding season themes on top of this, so we're going to go through this rotation, then this makes sense because you're putting a nerf to the, to the Alter of Rites so that you can then plug in season themes and you don't have completely overpowered batshit crazy stuff. So I think it's nice to have it back. Obviously nerfs never feel good, but if you're going to put some extra kind of season mechanic and power on top, then I think it probably does make sense. And that's kind of what the developer note roughly says. Now, in terms of balance changes, we've got something, I think, for every class, which is nice. So sometimes you do these PTR note reviews, we look at seasons, and there's some classes that are completely left. But I think there's still going to be a long way to go to get everything balanced out. But let's see. So Might of the Earth, I've got a nice big increase here. It's kind of like doubling the damage. It's not that far off, so that's nice. Leap Quake I've always enjoyed as a build, so it makes it a bit more competitive. I don't know whether that's going to really ratchet this up to like being a S tier build, but we'll try it out, we'll see. Raycore, hitting enemies with Furious Charge or Weapon Throw increases damage of next Ancient Spear by 2.5 from 5.5, because it treats multiple spears. Effects stack 5 times to that. I think it's a nerf. Again, I've cleared 150 on Raycore, but I can't quite remember what the mechanics are. But again, it's one of the top builds, so it makes sense for that to come down, I guess. Roland's Legacy, over double damage here because we're going from 17,500 up to 40,000%. Sweep Seder, I don't see many people playing it. It's not like a particularly mega fun build, but this will help, and I'm sure some people will use it. Fist of the Heavens is getting a little bit of a kick up, going from 15 to 20,000%. That will make that a little bit more competitive for speed builds. It's a very fun speed build. We've got the automatic Crusader in the game now, so that's kind of nice. We have Khan's Manacles. Bless shield damage is increased by 500% first enemy hits. Additionally, bonus is continued, reduced 50% for each subsequent non-shattering throw target. So I guess this is making the Bless shield, so Captain America said it a little better. Blade of Prophecy, condemned enemies also trigger Condemn's explosion. Damage of Condemn is increased by 600 to 800%. I think this used to be that, so I think the change here is that you're also getting the condemned enemies triggering Condemned. And then Faithful Memories, this is the Hammer Seder. Each enemy hit by Falling Sword increases damage of Blast Hammer by 60 to 80% for 10 seconds. Max 10 stacks. Each stack of this buff can now stack between uses instead of resetting. So again, just pumping out a bit more damage, I think. The Shadow's Mantle has been changed for Demon Hunter. Like, if 75,000 weapon damage to the first enemy hit wasn't big enough for you, if that wasn't too ridiculous and stupid a number, it's now 120,000%. Like, that made me laugh so much reading that. It's just quite funny. Imagine having a game with a modifier of 120,000%. Oh god, it's so stupid. But it's funny. But whatever, it's more damage for Shadow. Shadow's always quite kind of strong. It's always a nice, strong starting set and build for the Demon Hunter. And then we're also getting the subsequent enemies going up from 25,000 to 40,000%. We've got Embodiment of the Marauder, primary skills, so Elemental Arrow, Chakram, Impale, Multi-Shot, Cluster Arrow, Companions, Vengeance, Sentries now deal 6,500 damage, previously 12,000, so a bit of a nerf here, about half the damage. Again, this is always one of the better performing builds, so kind of bringing it back down to earth a little bit, and hopefully obviously moving some of these other builds up. Monk, Raiment of 1,000 Storms. Does anybody care? Does anybody care about this set? It is pretty hideous to play. it's pretty difficult. It's not fun, it's just squishy. But we do get 14,000% now on our generators rather than 6,000%. I still don't see anybody rushing to play this. I think it's a frustrating and squishy build to play, so we'll see. Exploding Palm from 9,000 to 12,500% when we detonate it, so that's nice. So again, it's not a massive buff. Yeah, Exploding Palm is a very popular one with some OG players. I think we maybe would have liked this to be more, but I suppose more damage will take it. And there's made a change to the Kirishira's blade, so this is Wave of Light. If it hits 5 or fewer enemies, you still get damage increase, and it used to be 3. I'm not sure if that multiplier's changed. I think it's the same. It was around about that anyway. But this makes it a bit more convenient because you're getting extra damage when you're hitting 4 enemies rather than 2. Necromancer, got some really nice changes here. Necro's been, I guess, a little bit left behind recently in the game, so it's nice to see a few things changed here. Pestilence, each corpse you consume grants an empowered Bone Spear charge that increases damage of Bone Spear up to 6,000 from 3,300, so kind of like a double. And the same for the Corpse Lance, Corpse Explosion, which is kind of almost doubling the damage output of Pestilence. Is that going to be enough? I'm not sure. People don't really play Pestilence. The 2-piece is really nice with the automatic corpse consuming. There's some fun stuff you can do with it, but I'm not sure this is going to make people want to do it. Inarius, one of my favourite all-time builds, Lazy Mancer. We basically move from a 10,000% flat modifier to 19,000%. So again, kind of like a doubling damage-ish, I think, because the modifier's moving up a decent amount. Or maybe it's 50% because we're going from 10,000 to 20,000. Might be 50%. Again, I don't think this is going to make this competitive at all, but it will make it better. So, cool. Draguls has been nerfed, so life-spending abilities deal 6,250% down from 10k. This, of course, was 150 capable this season with like the huge Paragon cap. It was still, people did 150 on hardcore with it, so it was really strong. It's also been hit by this Blood-Type Blade nerf, whereby it used to be every enemy within 25 yards, max 25 enemies. It's now 10 enemies, so that's a bit of a nerf as well. The Bone Spear set has been changed. So Bone Spear cast by you and Simulacrums deal 5,500, previously 9,000. Now this is not a change I'm particularly happy with, because I think Bone Spear needed actually to be buffed rather than nerfed. So I think that's a little bit odd, because this was one of the Necro's better speed farming builds, and it was crap compared to the other classes, and it's gone down, so I don't like that. Corpse Explosion has also been nerfed. You can now only stack it 4 times rather than 5. That does make a slight difference with leveling. I guess the Blood-Type Blade has an impact on leveling. I still think Necro is going to be amazing for leveling, but it's just going to basically not be quite as good, but it is what it is. This Corpse Explosion is going to affect Legacy of Dreams. It kind of makes this Pestilence change not quite as good, but again, we'll sort of see. And then the Corpse Whisper Pauldrons, these are the Corpse Lance Shoulders. Damage is increased from 50 to 75%, from 20 to 30% when you consume a corpse. So this will help Pestilence Lance builds. Obviously won't do anything for the Corpse Explosion. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. 20 stacks. I guess that's, again, it's probably over doubling the amount of damage you can do. So maybe Pestilence will come back. Witch Doctor, we've got Jade Harvester change. Soul Harvest reduces damage taken 50% for 12 seconds, which I think is the same. Instantly deals 26,000 seconds worth of damage, previously 10,000. So that's a big buff to Jade. I personally like Jade. I always thought it was fun and a unique playstyle, but I know some people absolutely hate it. Helltooth has also been buffed, so Wall of Death, 37,500 increased damage from 17.5k when we use these skills. So again, kind of like a double damage-ish. There seems to be a theme. It's roughly a lot of things are coming up by roughly a factor of 2. Spirit Barrage has gone down. Mundanugu's 15,000% increased damage, previously 20. Again, I'm not sure this was justified. Like I wouldn't really say Mundanugu's was massively overperforming build, but whatever. Spirit of Arakir increased by 11,500, previously 25,000, so that's a big nerf for the Arakir Spider. So again, knocking that down by about half. And then even Zuni's has been nerfed, so we've gone down to 13,000 to 15,000 on the damage. So again, not a good change for that. Zuni's is strong, it's just really squishy, it's dead hard to play. You've got to give multiple thousands of Paragon points to make Zuni Massa bearable to play. Wizard, DMO, enemies affected by slow time take 20,000 damage up from 12,500, so again, not that far off a double damage mod on that. Tal Rasha, attacks increase your damage by 1,000, previously 2,000, so that's like cut in half, so you know, it's not going to be quite as good. Change to the Smouldering Core. Meteor impacts lure in these lesser enemies. Meteor deal 40 to 50% damage, stacking up to 3 times, previously 10. So you used to be able to get up to 500% damage on the Smouldering Core. You can now only get 150%. So pretty big nerf. Now for speeds, it's not going to make much difference because you tended not to take this item anyway, but for pushing it is going to bring its capability down. So you've got a cut in half here and then a nice nerf on that. Twisted Sword, energy twister damage is increased by 125 to 150% for each twister, maximum of 3, previously 5, so the twister build has gone down as well. Raging Storms automatically apply, blah blah blah. So what have we got? We've got some of the best builds in the game being hit hard to try and bring them down. We've got some underperforming sets pushed up to see where we are. So look, is this going to be more balanced? Yeah, of course it is. Are some of these nerfs justified? I think not, but we'll just have to see. How to participate in PTR, blah blah blah. PTR character copy, again, blah blah blah. Now, again, unless I'm being really, really stupid, and it is a possibility because I do potato things all the time, I can't see any mention of a season theme here. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we don't have one, because there's maybe no need to test a season theme, because we're going to have it. Look, that's the positive interpretation. We're going to get these changes. We've got the altar, we've got the visions. We're going to go and put a season theme on top of this. I think actually reading this, I think they probably would have said, look, there's going to be a season theme on top as well. I think this is going to be a season 30, trying to get the game into a little bit of balance before we dump a season theme on top. Because again, the season theme will interact with different sets and different builds in different ways. I really hope there is something like the Soul Shard thing coming back, you know, or the ethereal items coming back. Both those things would be really cool. Again, they might need some balance changes to them before they get implemented into the maintenance mode rolling season system of Diablo 3. But at the end of the day, I guess the question is, if let's say this is just how it is, this is the bare bones, there is no season theme next season, it is just we've put the visions in permanently, we've put the Alter of Rites back in permanently in its nerfed state, are we happy with this? Well, I think it's better than last season. I think it's worse than season 28, and I really would have liked a season theme. So I'd say overall, yep, cool, balanced stuff. The altars is good. I'm giving it like a solid 5 or 6 out of 10, because I think if you put a season theme on top, I think I'm perfectly happy. Like, that's where this game is now. It's old, D4 is out, there isn't going to be much love for it. But a season theme on top, I think I'm happy as Larry. I'll go off, play it for 2-3 weeks, crush it, and then, you know, move on and go do something else. If it's just this stuff, I think fewer people will come, because I think you need, like, but not just balance changes, you need like a little mechanic, a season theme, something to get people in, because the visions won't do it, and I'm not even sure a nerfed Alter of Rites will do it. But I could be wrong. Let me know what your thoughts are. I've been the Filthy Casual. Take it easy, guys. Peace.